Hi, my name is Sammy Rogers. My question today is, do you agree with the assertion that freedom of speech on the internet applies our freedom to troll one another? In this presentation, I'll be talking about trolling on the internet and if it is right to troll someone and if we have a right to express ourselves so freely, or should we be censored and not be able to say anything negative on the internet. Trolling is a phenomenon online where an individual baits and provokes other group members, often with the result of drawing them into fruitless arguments and diverting attention from the stated purposes of the group. The idea of trolling is to express people's beliefs on the internet. Trolling is mostly deemed as a negative aspect of conversation on the internet and affects with different social networking sites. At first glance, trolling may look like little more than hate speech and online abuse, but deeper readings reveal it to be a form of action that seeks to trick the person being trolled into revealing a hidden reality. What McDonald is trying to say is that the person who is the troll is trying to get a better reaction on the internet and enhancing the conversation by not just agreeing to what someone has said on these social network sites, like their political views. But the troll is trying to find a difference in opinion, giving a strong form for a debate by showing both views. Another way that trolling is a new way for people to express themselves is by the way that Southern Phillips, by defining trolls as a revolutionary to be a user who stirs up controversy, and that trolling assumes the goals and behaviors of a revolutionary. The best way for a troll is basically going against any different perspective on how to create a specific discourse towards the viewers, and is viewed more negative to the people not trolling, but for the trolls, they are being vocal rebels. An idea that freedom of speech on the internet must include the freedom to troll other people. Timothy Garton Ash believes this to be true. Timothy Garton Ash was one of the writers for the Charlie Hebdo magazine, which was attacked in 2015 by terrorists who tried to censor their paper by using force. Timothy Garton Ash is focusing on the censorship of speech by saying, in the ways of freedom of expression should not be limited on the grounds of mere offence. No one has a right not to be offended. This is a way to show a good argument of freedom of speech includes the right to express their way to troll people by saying that freedom of speech should not be just speaking pleasant things on the internet, when it should be a way to speak whatever you would like to speak, including something to harm someone and offend. In some cases, on one side could offend one type of person, and on the other, it could not be. This is a good argument of why trolling should be a part of the freedom of speech. Another reason why the idea of freedom of speech and the reason for trolling, and how trolling, which has been now the focus for most media outlets, is the media will show the mainstream of the media's preoccupation with controversial behavior on the increase of journalists competing to present a dramatic narrative of strong moral content. The purpose of this is an attempt by media producers to manufacture a sense of moral outrage amongst their audience. This is one of the better aspects of how the media represents trolling, and basically over-reports the idea of the controversial behavior for some people. It is giving a moral panic for the people who were offended by the problems, giving away for media outlets who sell controversy, and what trolling represents is the core meaning of controversy on the internet, making the media a dangerous place, but warns people of other dangers of the internet through the moral panic of trolling. The freedom to troll the internet is especially can be empowering for women. The freedom to troll is mostly thought that men were more seen as trolls than women being trolls, but recently more women have started to use trolling as a way of women empowerment. There is a trend now of a bad girl image in British media personalities. Bell claimed the rise of a bad girl in British popular culture was an extension of the pop feminist movement of the 1990s, expressed in a new kind of liberated and empowered femininity, marked by assertiveness, provocation, and success. This is the way for women to be empowered on the internet by becoming a bad girl, by trolling people, by expressing their assertiveness towards the men. They are trolling to give another reason why trolling can be a good way for women and their femininity. I will now focus on the negative aspects to trolling on the internet. Freedom of speech must not imply that people have the freedom to troll people on the internet, by them the side of the people who they affect. The people who are being trolled believe that the trolls get a kick out of ruining otherwise interesting conversation, irritating people by making bad arguments in bad faith, and generally being annoying and getting attention for it. This is the perspective of the people who troll and give people a link towards the term of bullies in the media, by the victims of the trolls, are basically trying to discourage trolls from being the most important negative perspective on the internet. People on the internet use the term "don't feed the trolls" by ignoring people who are trolling, which creates an effective strategy by ignoring the presence of the people who interrupt their discussion. This basically ostracizes the troll by them being ignored and not being focused on, but just a way to discuss trolling, making it not an effective way of freedom of speech because it is being ignored instead. Another example of freedom of speech on the internet does not imply the freedom to troll one another is the aspect of censoring topical issues on the media. Because in May 2016, Facebook have had allegations from former editor of Facebook saying that the popular conservative stories are often kept off Facebook's trending bar, either because the curator didn't recognize the news topic or they had a bias. This is showing the ideas of censoring of topics that might cause controversy for the people reading the subject. This, in many ways, could be social networks' way of protecting people from the idea of trolls on the internet by the social media deleting the very controversial topics. An example of this was that Facebook deleted a post criticizing gay marriage written by a Sydney academic because it breached community standards. This is a way for the people who control Facebook created a way to get rid of posts that would cause harm to most of the participants. This gives an argument to support the fact that freedom of speech does not mean trolling. However, an aspect gives a negative connotation for what Facebook taking away negative controversial posts or tweets because the post that was deleted about gay marriage in Australia was reinstated because Tom Wilson, a former Australian Human Rights Commissioner, accused Facebook of censorship. This gives the idea that freedom of speech is always against censorship on any account. Given the idea of trolling as a form of speech, that is the main point of the internet's problem with social media is trolling, and the way that they can stop trolling is to censor it from the people. One of the main points and the reason to stop trolling on the internet is the treatment of gender, especially towards women. Women on the internet get the credit that they are not in a safe place because there is a gender difference existing in normative online contributions. Studies suggest that women are more active in blogging and Q&A communities, and that women are more interested in the social aspects and seek to build communities constructively. This is showing that women on the internet are usually represented as a way of being active in the online status, as a more helpful way to the internet, trying to tackle problems besides from trolling by using the internet as a gateway for them to keep and help other women. However, women are usually the ones mostly being targeted by trolls. Like an example of trolling in social networks is a report of misogyny on Twitter, released by the research and policy organization Demos. This June found more than 6 million instances of the word slut or whore used in English on Twitter between December 26, 2013 and February 9, 2014. This is proof that there is a lot of misogyny on the internet by creating a gender divide, creating an unsafe place for women on the internet who are not free to post anything on social network because they are more frightened by the trolls on the internet, giving a good reason why it should be a limited form of speech. An example of why expression of trolling should be limited is the example of celebrities being famous for being trolls on the internet by using their image and the way they speak. The example I'm giving is Katie Hopkins, who is very prominent on the social networking sites as seen as a troll and believes a very extreme set of views that most people don't agree with and dislikes her for believing her. An example of Katie Hopkins trolling was when she completed a documentary called My Fat Story, in which she purposefully gained 19 kilograms to prove that obese people could lose weight through diet and exercise. Her pronouncement that was what fat people need is a kick up the arse sparked renewed public antipathy towards the commentator. This is one of the extreme views that she uses to offend people and also gives her the popularity for being a troll, which affects the idea for women empowerment by giving a more of a support for the trolls, to troll by actually promoting people to troll people, by making them famous and giving them more of a sense of why they should do this, and gives a really negative action towards trolling on the internet and makes another side of trolling that men might get picked on by women and giving a cycle of trolling on the internet because they want to be famous by giving the most by giving more extreme views, even though it's just to get more popularity and more hate, not really empowering women. It's just putting a negative aspect towards them. In conclusion, I would say that both had strong arguments, but trolling has some negative aspects towards women and the victims, especially the ones who have suffered a tragedy. However, I think that trolling is an aspect of the internet and is a way to freely speak towards anyone, and is a new form of speech on the internet and should be not admired but more ignored and just another person trying to get a more impulsive argument instead of just a one-sided argument. Thank you for your time. See you later.